right, 877-496-1190. It's a number you can call to be part of the Hog Call here on 1190 AM The Fan, Monday through Friday, noon to 2. But we got with us Kevin McPherson from SportingLifeArkansas.com. He's also a contributor to Hogville.net, and you can follow Kevin for all his updates on Twitter at ARHoopScoop. And Kevin, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm, to this point, the unidentified demographic. I'm either kneeling or standing. I'm actually sitting. So,
yeah, it takes a lot of effort to do either or the other for me.
Nobody's talking about the guys that are just sitting, man.
I'm telling you.
Getting no attention out here.
Arkansas Razorback basketball is just right around the corner. Of course, recruiting never stops. And you got some updates on some of the guys Arkansas has been on pretty heavily recently.
Yeah, Jordan Phillips, he's the 6'7" wing out of Arlington, Texas. He just visited Arkansas weekend before last took his official there. Hog coaches had been in to do an in-home visit with him earlier that week prior to his visit. And so, he's a guy that's told me repeatedly for weeks that Arkansas is his definite leader. He has taken an official visit to Fresno State. Before his Arkansas visit, I know they're near the top of his list. He just got back from Georgetown. I spoke with him last night. He went up to take an official visit to Georgetown over the weekend, got to hang out with Patrick Ewing, the new head coach there and Hall of Famer and probably the greatest player ever in Hoya's history. Said he got to meet Big John Thompson. Said it was a neat experience, but the visit, he said, was pretty good. Certainly not the rave reviews he gave gave after his Arkansas visit. And he was set to take an official visit to Virginia Tech this coming weekend, and this has been in the works for a while. And he told me he's probably going to go ahead and pass on that visit. So normally when you start to see this, players are probably getting to a point where they're getting ready to make an announcement. Obviously another team could come onto the radar as far as an official visit. SMU is a team I know that's trying to get in on him. They're trying to get him to come on, go over and watch him practice, and they may try to get an official visit. He's in the Dallas area. That wouldn't be hard to do, but signs are kind of pointing right now to him maybe shutting things down. We'll see. I think an announcement could be soon. Again, Arkansas is his favorite, according to him. He told me just last night, not only were they his favorite, but he really appreciated all the Hog fans that have been showing him love. Over the course of him coming onto the radar. Arkansas basically offered him back in July. So we'll see what happens with him. Would not be surprised at all if he commits somewhere this week. If Arkansas is the leader, it really boils down to, is Arkansas ready to accept a commitment right now?
Well, that was
with 2 more scholarships to go and other players still on the radar, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in this segment. It may be that he holds on for a little bit, or if he decides he's ready to make an announcement and doesn't want to wait, it could be somebody else. But if Arkansas wants him, he wants Arkansas, and we could hear something this week on that end.
Now, I think you pretty much just answered the question I was about to ask, which is I just want to remind the folks exactly where they are at scholarship numbers and what they have to give in this 18 class.
Right. So they've got four players committed, a total of 6 to give. So, 6 minus 4 is 2 more. There's a possibility that Arkansas could look at adding 3 more. And the numbers don't work right now, but they always work themselves out. And I won't go deeper into that, in fear of causing panic on top of panic after the Texas A&M loss over the weekend. But I will say that with 2 more to go, Arkansas has got a few players still on the board that are still interested in Arkansas. And one that's intriguing, Ian Steer. Arkansas offered him back on May 1st. And here's a guy out of High Point, North Carolina, 6'9", power forward center type, very bouncy, strong, big, solid guy. Committed to Creighton. He had Arkansas in his Final 5. Went back when he committed to Creighton. I think it was a couple of months ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. Gosh, time's flying. But he's a guy that once he committed, Arkansas has moved on. Obviously, you don't continue to recruit a guy, but he decommitted from Creighton late last week, and he told me on Friday that Arkansas coaches had already been in contact with him, among other schools. And so here's a guy he told me he's going to narrow everything down this week and let coaches know, who his new finalists will be and where he may take more visits. I know he visited Louisville and Creighton back before his commitment, and so one of his reasons for decommitting was staying closer to home. North Carolina State is a school where he took an unofficial visit to. That's a while back, and that's obviously a school that'd be close to home since he's out in North Carolina. So we'll see if Arkansas makes any kind of a cut for him. Honestly, that's one of those things that may be a long shot. But, hey, he told me Arkansas was in his Final Five before committing at Creighton, so maybe they reappear there. So that'll be something interesting to track.
Now, there's also a new name, at least to me, that you mentioned before the show, Jericole Helms. If that's Helms, is that how you pronounce the last name?
That's right. And we've actually mentioned him before back in July during the Peach Jam. He's with Brad Bill Elite. He just blew up on the national scene back in mid-July at the Nike Peach Jam. Here's a guy that had mostly mid-major offers, and he played so well that weekend. He ended up picking up over 20 offers just in the weekend, and including Arkansas, and most of those were high major offers. And then shortly after that, he announced his final 7 schools, and Arkansas is on that list. But it's been really quiet with him. He hasn't said a lot about Arkansas. He's taken official visits to North Carolina State and South Carolina. Home state, he's out of St. Louis. St. Louis Chaminade, like I said, played at Brad Bill Elite, which is also known as the St. Louis Eagles on the Nike EYBL circuit. But the home state Missouri Tigers have also offered him. That may be a school that's tough to get him away from, but in the end, but Arkansas visited him week before last. The staff went. Scotty Thurman's his lead recruiter. They went and visited him at the school at St. Louis Chaminade, and then again did an in-home visit later that day. And I've since talked to his AAU coach, Corey Fraser, and he's telling me that Arkansas is high on his list. He says that Arkansas has probably done the best job, been the most consistent program in his recruitment, meaning constant contact, probably following up on things they said they're going to do. So he said that he'll be surprised if he doesn't get a visit, that he expects Arkansas will get an official visit. And he says he's high on Arkansas, so and they have a lot of respect for Scotty Thurman. So we'll see how that plays out. Nothing's been said as far as an official visit date. Like I said, he has gone to North Carolina State and South Carolina to this point, but he's a 6'7" small forward, a guy that really improved his shot all the way out to the three-point line, solidly built. I really like the way he uses his dribble to get into a good high percentage shot, because he can go down low and score, and he knows how to use his body. I mean, he'll back a guy down and create just enough space and get his shoulder squared and get a good look. So very versatile offensive player, and a guy that I know at 6'7", you see Arkansas try to find these guys that fit that combo 4 role, and he might be that guy, play the 3 or that kind of that stretch, small combo 4. So another name to keep an eye on here late as we get closer to the early signing period, Jericole Helms.
Now, a couple of guys, though, I guess maybe you can just mark off your list, though, you mentioned as well, Arkansas not really in the picture for these guys anymore.
Well, Joshua Blanc, he told me, he reached out to me on Friday and basically said, look, I'm down to Georgetown, Texas A&M, and LSU, and here's a guy that, originally he didn't want this on the record. He'd been telling me for a long time, even before he announced his Final Four and set up visits, that it would probably come down to Arkansas and LSU. And so he was telling me that, and then he took his official visit to Arkansas. He liked it. He had a good time, but once he went to A&M, he started backing away from his, the strength of his feelings about Arkansas and was really talking about A&M a lot. He's kind of downplayed LSU. I don't know if that's because LSU's also recruiting guys at his position that they may prefer over him, and he's in a wait-and-see mode himself. But he just took his official visit there over the weekend, and, he said it was, quoting him, it was all right. It was cool. He didn't really elaborate, but he has basically eliminated Arkansas. But he's, every team in his Final Four, he's gone around in circles kind of putting them at the top of his list with LSU. So we'll just see where this plays out. I mean, I guess it's conceivable Arkansas could come back into the picture. I think it's highly unlikely, but it's possible. And then Keontae Kennedy,
yes,
the 6'4" shooting guard out of Westlake High School in Austin, Texas. He's a guy that was supposed to visit Arkansas in early September. He changed it to late October. But then he, on Friday afternoon, released a top 6 that does not include the Razorbacks. Michigan, who I've been told is the favorite for him as far as where he wants to go. Now, he's got to visit them first weekend in October, and we'll see if his offer becomes committable at that time. But Memphis is a school he just visited the same weekend that Connor Vanover visited Memphis, and that may be another place that's one of the favorites, I think. Then Xavier, Texas Tech, VCU, are some more schools that are in the picture for him.
All
so,
right.
he hasn't told me that Arkansas is out of the running, but if he's not in their top 6, I doubt he makes that official visit in late October.
Well, anything else to add there, Kevin? I know that's some great updates, a couple guys that we can kind of mark off the list. But, 2 scholarships left. Are they both kind of going to be combo forwards, you think?
Yeah, I think the best, in my opinion, Arkansas needs another big man. And so Reggie Chaney, right now, the guys that they're on, or Ian Steer. But Ian Steer, to me, that may not pan out. We're going to find out in a few days if Arkansas is even in the running for him at this point. But Reggie Chaney's a guy that they've been on. He likes Arkansas a lot. He loved his visit, had a great time. They've talked to him about a Bobby Portis type of role. And to be honest, Arkansas needs a guy that can play down low. He's a blue-collar guy. He can play around the basket. I've seen that in highlights. There's no doubt about that. 6'8", between 220, 230, but quick off the bounce, so he can take guys from the high post and off the wing and get to the basket. He can get in there and get rebounds, but if he's expanding his shot to a point of being compared to Bobby Portis, I think at 6'8", a guy with his size, that's a guy that Arkansas, hopefully will stay on based on what I think their needs are. And then, Jordan Phillips, that 6'7" wing, to me, those are the top 2 guys as far as wanting, where Arkansas fits on their list and the fact that Arkansas has made them a priority. But we need to keep an eye on Jericho Helms. I think that's a guy that you take him if you can get him. He's a top 100 4-star type player.
All right.
And Arkansas's in the mix on a lot of these guys. So,
all right, Kevin.
Whatever combination plays out, I think Arkansas's in great shape if they land 2 of those 3.
All right. Thanks, Kevin.